Hey, what's up everyone? Today we're going to see how to do a laser attachment for our weapon. So as you can see here, the laser is coming through our weapon. And if I press the key again, the laser is going out. So we're going to see exactly how to do this. Here we go, back in the project. So the first thing I'm going to do is just that we can have a better pose when we are using the laser. We're just going to add the animation starter pack that you can see here. So to add it, you can just go to the marketplace and just add this to your project. So you click, you choose your project. For example, that's this one here for me. So click and just select the last version and add it to your project. And you should be all set and good to go for this part. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the animation starter pack just to get the best animation, just not the best, but a better animation so we can see what we're doing. So we're gonna select the idle rifle, and what we're gonna do is just right click on it. We're gonna retarget this to make sure it's working for Unreal 5. So we're gonna duplicate, and here in the corner of IK retargeter, we're gonna be able to select the UE4 to UE5. And now you can see we have the animation that we have down here for this mannequin is going to be retarget for this one. So we're just going to click retarget. And now we do have the new animation for the new character. So what we're going to do from this, we're going to go to the character. So we can just go to our third-person character blueprint, and we are having access to or new character, not a new character, but obviously a character that come by default. So from here, we're going to select the blueprint right up here. We're going to go to mesh, and here we have the animation. So we're going to select use animation asset just to give us access to this animation. Obviously the character won't move when we're going to move the character around the level, as you can see now. It's just going to do like this. However, it's just going to help us to see exactly when we take the attachment to have a better view of what's going on. Okay, so you don't have to do this step obviously if you don't want to. So I'm just going to close all of that, and we're going to do the first step to have our laser started. From here, we're going to create our laser. So we're going to click on core. We're going to go to our military component here. And next to flashlight, we're going to create a new folder. And we're going to call that laser. And we're going to open it. And in there, we're going to right click and create a Niagara system. We're going to select new system from selection. We're going to do next. We're going to select a beam one and just add it by clicking on the plus here and finish. So we're going to call that ns underscore laser pointer, and we're going to open it. So when we're in here, we're just going to change some few settings so it's look more like a laser than a beam that we have now. So first thing, we're going to go to the emitter state right here, and we're going to change the loop duration by something like 0.3 or even 0.1, and you should see that now the color is staying, so it's not flashing like it was used to be a thing at the beginning. I don't exactly remember which number it was. Oh, it was 5. And as you can see here, it's kind of just going through and kind of flashy, so it's not what we want. We're going to put 0.03 so that way the light is steady. Now I'm going to go to the beam here, and we're going to click on the beam hand, and we're just going to click down, and I'm going to search for user. So which is going to give us access to modify that a little bit later in our code. I'm going to go to the spawn burst here, and we're going to change the number here. So we're going to count spawn because it's just a line. We don't need as many spawn as this number, so we can lower that down pretty low. So we're going to put 3. And all the other setting seems good. As you can see here, it's looking a little bit better. It's not a laser yet, but we're getting there. We're going to go to the initiate particle. I think we do not have to change anything. We're going to go to the spawn here. I think we're good. We're going to go to the beam width, and here really, really simple. We're just going to click here on the arrow, which is going to give us access to those 2 values, and we're going to change that to 1. As you can see now, we have more like a line. It's exactly what we want. It starts to look more like a laser. And we're going to go down to the color, obviously, and you put the color that you want. Majority of the time it's red, so we're just going to put a little red. There we go, like this. And now we do have our laser. We have a line, so that's exactly what we want. So we're just going to compile and we're going to save that, and we should be all good for the next step. Now we're going to create the logic for our laser. So we're just going to right click there and we're going to click create a new blueprint class. I'm going to take an actor. I'm going to call that BP underscore, and you can name it the way you want. So for me, I'm just going to call that laser pointer, and I'm going to open it. And here in the laser pointer, we're going to do a few little things here. So first, we're going to add a mesh. So we're going to search for mesh, and we should have that right here, static mesh. So we're going to take this, and I'm going to call that SM underscore laser pointer. And there we can select what we want. So just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to take a cube. So we're going to go to cube, and I'm going to take this one right here, and I'm just going to resize that so it's a little bit more like a laser, something around maybe 0.1 here. So 0.1 to 0.01, and same thing 0.01. Now if we go there, so this little part here will attach to our gun. So from here we're going to add, and we're going to select the Niagara particle system, and this you can leave the same name, it's not a big deal. And from there we're just going to select it, and we're going to go down here, and the one that we created at the beginning, it's right there. As you can see here, it's right down there. So obviously it's a little bit too long here, so we're just going to change the number to 10, and we're going to move this in front so we can see it somewhere around there. Okay, so should be all good. You see it's a little bit off center right now, so I'm just going to move it somewhere around there. If you want to be more precise, you can click here, go on the left, zoom to it, and you can adjust it right there. But I think it's gonna be fine. If we go back to perspective, I think this is good enough for now. Or maybe just a little bit more. Here we go, something around this. And we're gonna put a collision box to take all of that. So we're gonna select the laser point, and we're gonna search for box. We're gonna take a collision box. This box will help us to pick up the laser to attach it to our weapon. As you can see here, we can even play more with this box if you need to. So I think I'm just going to change it manually like this. I think it's going to be better than just putting numbers. Here we go, something like this. I'm going to compile. And now we're going to be able to go to the event graph. So here we're going to search for event begin play. And what we're going to do here, we're just going to take the Niagara laser here. I'm going to drag from that, and we're going to search for visibility. I'm going to set the visibility to nothing at first, so you can even drag that and just search for sequence by holding S on the keyboard. So if you have other things that you want to connect later on, you can always add a pin and do this if you want to keep that organized. So by default, we're going to put the Niagara system, the visibility to nothing, okay? Because when we put the laser on the game here, we don't want to see the red that we have here. So by doing this little code, the red will disappear, okay? And you can see here we have even a collision thing on it. So we're just going to remove the collision from that. So we're going to go to our laser pointer. We're going to go to the skeleton mesh, and here we're going to search for collision. So just search for collision here, and you see we have block all dynamic. We're going to put no collision at all. So when we do play now, we can walk over and it's not doing anything. That's exactly what we want. So here we want to have a way to pick up the laser as we did in the previous one for the flashlight. So it's going to be very, very similar. So we're going to click on the collision box right here. And I'm going to right click and do add event, and I'm going to search for the begin overlap. From here, we're going to cast to where we want to attach our weapon. So in my case, it's for my firearm. So I'm just going to search for cast to firearm, and I'm going to make sure we connect the object to the other actor. So you cast to whatever you want to attach your laser pointer. From there, we're going to take as BP firearm, and we're going to go get the skeleton mesh for the firearm, okay, or whatever you are casting to. So we're going to drag from that, and in my case it's SK skeleton mesh. I'm going to go all the way down. Actually, I'm just going to search for mesh, go all the way down, and we're going to take the get SK mesh here, and from that we're going to attach to component, and we're going to take this one here. So make sure you have the good one. And the target parent, well, is going to be this SK, as I said earlier, for our skeleton mesh for our weapon. There we go, like this. And I'm going to make sure that we all snap it to target, so it's go exactly where we want. Okay. And from there now, we're just going to create a little boolean. And this one is going to be as laser pointer, and we're just going to take it, put it right there. We're going to do a set. I'm going to plug this right there and do a check on it. I'm just going to rename it to put an exclamation interrogation mark, I mean. Okay, so far we have, when we start, we set the visibility to our laser to 0, and when we're going to walk on the box here, we're going to cast to our weapon or wherever you want to attach the laser to, and I'm going to take the laser that is right here, which is this one here, going to attach that to our weapon, to the socket none. We're going to create this socket in a second, and it's going to set a boolean saying that we do have a laser. Okay, so here I'm going to call that laser pointer, and we're going to compile. So now we have to go to the skeleton mesh to our firearm, and we have to create a socket that's going to match this name here. So we have the firearm right here, but it's not the base one that we want. We want the one that we created earlier. So if we go back there to our weapon, we have the base firearm, and we have the firearm that we're using, which is this one right here on the ground. So we're going to open this, and it's just to go get the skeleton mesh for that weapon. So by clicking on the mesh here, and you can browse to it, it's going to bring us directly to it, and we can open it. Here, you're going to have to right click and add a socket, and you're going to name this socket laser pointer, as you can see here. You're going to place it exactly where you want on your weapon. So in my case, I put it right here on the side, as you can see here. And if you right click on it, you can also add a preview mesh, and you can select your laser if you do have one. In my case, I just took a little cube and I put it right there just to give me an idea where it's going to go on the gun and how that's going to look. Okay, so when that is done, you're all set for the next step. So now we're just going to go down here. We're going to create a custom event, and I'm just going to call that laser pointer, and this will be basically when we press, it's going to activate the laser, and when we press, it's going to deactivate the laser. So we're going to take our Niagara system right here. I'm going to drag, and I'm going to search for visibility. Take the set visibility, so the first one here. So we're going to go right down here, but as you can see here, we can only do once at the time. So we need a way to, when we press, it's going to do that once, and when we press again, it's going to do, whoops, I'm going to go back there. It's going to remove. So enable when we click and disable when we click. But as you can see here, if I try to do that, that doesn't work, right? So we're just going to search for a flip-flop, which is going to allow us to connect two at the same time, as you can see here. So when I'm going to press 1, it's going to go to A. It's going to set our laser to visible. And when we're going to click again, it's going to set our laser to not visible. From there now, I'm going to create another Boolean. So right here, we're going to go to variable, click on the little plus, and we're going to search for line, not search, but we're going to use line trace activated with an interrogation mark. We're going to take this and we're just going to do a set. So when it's activated, we're going to say yes. And when it's not activated, we're going to make sure that it's unchecked. And here we're just going to create another custom event. So just search for custom event, add custom event. We're going to call that line trace. And this is going to basically use our line trace to see exactly where we want our laser to go. Once again, we're going to take our Niagara particle system. And I'm going to drag from that. I'm going to set vector parameter. So we're going to take the first one here. I'm going to connect that right here. And as you remember here, when we did our laser at the beginning, we were using the beam N, right? So I'm going to show you again, just make sure that you're following. So we're going to go to our laser. And you remember here, right here, we use the beam N. So it's exactly what we're going to call here. So we're going to call right this. So we're going to go there, going to make sure that we call that beam N. And from that, we're just going to drag and we're going to search a line trace. And of course, we're going to take the line trace by channel. We're going to take our laser pointer. We're going to put it right here. So from our laser, we are going to get the world location. Make sure that we know where this laser is in the world. I'm going to put that to start. So it's going to, the line trace is going to start to this location. Make sure that also it's going forward, because we want to make sure that laser is going forward. We don't want the laser to go anywhere. We're going to take that and we're going to multiply. We're going to multiply this by, I'm going to take a little bit more space here. We're going to multiply this by a variable, and the variable will be basically the line trace laser distance. Okay, so we can right click right here, right? And we can change this, right? We want this to be a variable. We want this to be, whoops, a float here. So actually we can create that right away if we want to. So just create a new variable, click float, and we're going to rename this laser and line trace max distance. I know it's a long name, but it's specific, so it's easy to remember. So we have to connect that right here. As you can see here, now it's going to change it to a float. And we also need to connect that right here. However, we just need access to the X value. So we're just going to click on the parameter here. I'm going to split, which is going to give us access to X, Y, and Z. And we're going to connect that to X, because here X is going that way. So we want the laser to go that way. And the line trace will go that way at the same time. So it's going to be exactly what we want. So now after that, we're going to drag from that. I'm going to search for a plus. Okay, a little bit more space here. And we're going to plug that to the end here. So multiplication, we're going to plug it to the bottom here. And this will go to the world location like this. Okay, so when the line trace will be called, we're going to go and get the beam hand here. Okay, it's going to cast a line trace. The line trace will start from our laser pointer. So it's going to get the roll location where it is in the world. It's going to make sure it's face forward. It's going to take the distance here that we're going to set up in a second from the X, and we're going to multiply that by all of those jazz to put it there at the end to see exactly where the laser head has to finish. So we're going to take that and we're going to set up a number. So we're going to make sure that we have the default value here is 0. How far we want our laser to go. So I'm going to put 1,000 and I'm going to compile that. And now from here, very simple. We're going to take a branch here. We're just going to put it right there. And I'm going to put the return value right here. And the other it, we're just going to break the it result and like this and compile. Now we're all done. So basically, if you have other code you want to do after, you can do that right here. It's already ready to go. And now we just have to modify few little thing, actually add a little thing that we didn't do here. So we're going to take that, just put that out of the way. We're going to search for event tick. And basically we're going to do a branch, just going to plug that right here. And the condition with that would be our line trace is activated. And if it's true, we're going to be able to call the line trace. So we're going to go through all that, just make sure that we understand everything is going on. So event begin play is setting the visibility to our laser. So this to not be visible when it's on the ground. This, if we do have a laser that the if the line trace is activated, it's going to call the line trace. If it's not activated, it's not going to call the line trace. Okay. So we have it right here. Okay, the line trace activated. So when we click on our key that we're going to set up in our third-person character, it's setting the visibility to the laser so we can see the laser, and it's setting that boolean to true, which is the one that we are using right here. Okay, because basically we don't want having the line trace to be always active in the game every frame. By putting a boolean right here, it's going to verify, and if it's not activated, it's not going to cast the line trace. Okay, only going to cast the line trace when our laser is activated. Okay, if it's not going to do anything. Okay, it's why we have this right here that we use the boolean. If we go down here and our line trace here, basically we use our particle system that we have right here. We're taking the skeleton mesh right here. We get our wall location and that it's look forward for us. We tell the game, hey, we want the laser to be a max distance of 1,000 from the axe X. We're going to multiply all that together and it's going to give us the end of our line trace. Okay. And obviously here it's just the rest if you want to continue your code. And we're going to compile. So from here now we can just verify if the laser attached to our gun. So here I can't pick up the laser, but if I walk on the gun here, I have the gun in my hand as you can see, and I can go walk on the laser. Now I do have the laser attached. You can see the other box on the top of it, like in front of me. So you can see that the laser attached perfectly. And just to make sure that it's working well, we can even put a little print string here after the attach, and we can put laser attach when you do play here, so you can verify actually that your thing are working properly. Okay, and from here we're going to make sure that when we use our character we can activate this we can activate our laser here, the visibility to be set to true and false. So we need to go in our third-person character. So we're going to go to the third-person character right here, blueprint. We're going to open our blueprint, and here we see that we use the key F key for the flashlight. Obviously you can set up your own key correctly, so it's just to show you, but there's a proper way to do this, but just for the tutorial I want that to show you a little bit quicker what to do. So here I'm going to search for the G key. So when we press, we're going to go to a branch, and we're going to go to another branch. And from that, we're going to call our laser pointer. That is this. So we need a reference to this in our third-person character. So if we go all the way up here to the event begin play here, we can see that we'll get all actor, and we're getting the flashlight, we're getting the firearm, but we also need now to get the laser pointer. So we're gonna just click this, you can just copy paste, and we're going to select the laser. So just search for the laser pointer. We're gonna drag that and just promote that to a variable that we're going to rename as BP laser pointer. Now we have the reference to this, so if we compile, so now we can go all the way back to our code here, and we should be able to take the reference to our firearm here and get the reference to our laser pointer right here. So from the firearm, we want to make sure that we do have a weapon, so as firearm, not weapon, so firearm, we're going to plot it right here, and our laser pointer is going to be as laser pointer. Put it right there. If all of that is true, we're going to be able to call from the laser pointer the laser pointer custom event that we created earlier. So let me see this one here, the function, and true. Okay, so when we press J or G, sorry, we're going to verify that in our firearm we do have a firearm. If we do, it's going to be true. It's going to go to the next branch. The next branch will go to our laser pointer. It's going to check if we have the laser pointer attached to our gun. If we do, it's going to call the laser pointer function that we have in our laser, which is this one here. That's going to cast this, going to go to the first one, activate the laser, and it's going to go again, deactivate the laser. Okay, I'm going to go back to our third-person character, and we shall be able to try this. So we're going to go play. Just take our gun here. So we have our gun here. We have the laser. It's a laser attached. If we press J, as you can see here, we have the laser on our gun, which is pretty convenient. So it's exactly what we want. Okay, so just different view mode here. So let's do that again. So if we try to get the laser without having a gun, we can't pick it up. If we get the gun, we can get the laser. Now if we press J, we have the laser on our gun here, as you can see, and it's going at 1000 Unreal unit. So if you want it to be a little bit longer, you can always go back to our laser here and go to the line trace and just change the default value to something bigger, like 2000. Compile and go again, take the gun, take the laser, press J. Now we can see that we do have that as well. Okay, so the distance has changed. Obviously now it's kind of pointing a little bit in the ground, but you get the point. So now we have a laser that is working attached to our weapon. So that's pretty much what I wanted to show you. So I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.